Wassup YouTube, PokePrimer here, proud to deliver you our Week 10 Team Builder here in NPBF. We're struggling, dog. We're big struggling. We are just hanging in there this season. This has been a really tough season. To put into perspective, we are going into our divisional rematches, last place in our division. By one differential point, mind you. Well, okay, the Week 9 matches haven't been updated yet, but you know what I mean. And we're going in like 2 spots above being knocked into D-League. So, it's been a tough season, to say the very least. We've had a tough one. So, yeah. We're going to keep going hard. We're going to keep doing the best that we can. And maybe, just maybe, we can pull this out. Because technically if Liam and the Auckland Ambipalms lose out, technically, we can still make playoffs if we win out. It's a wild thought, but it can technically happen. No, he already won. No, he's at 6-3 going into Week 10. I'm at 3-6. So unless we his differential's probably way better than ours too. We're at what, -11? He's at like, well, no, he would be 5 more than what we had here, and I lost like 2. So, yeah, no, there's no way unless he gets like 6-0 or something. But even still, that's pretty much our only route to playoffs, unless like a bunch of other people will start losing like crazy. That's also a possibility, and we can maybe squeeze a wild card slot out of this. And that all starts right here as we take on Jesse and the J-Dawg Jolteons. You can see his team over there on the right. He took over for Chris and the Nottingham Neo Legos earlier in the season. Chris had to drop for personal reasons. So Jesse took over the slot, and he's been doing pretty good for himself. As of Week 8, he was 4-4, so he was doing better than we were. So, yeah, really strong team. It consists of Dragonite, Umbreon, Porygon Z, Haxorus, Rotom Frost, Virizion, Pinsir, Hatterene, Entei, Suicune, and Barbaracle. So, a couple things, obviously. He's got the double dogs with the Entei, Suicune, both incredibly strong Pokemon in their own rights. He's got the double dragon with Haxorus, Dragonite. Again, both ridiculously strong mons in their own right. And he has the stupid Umbreon for defensive core. Umbreon plus Suicune is defensive core is annoying. And then he has the PZ, and we all remember what happened against PZ last time. So, thankfully this time, I'm not prepping like ass. And this here team's not gonna get the best of us last time. Not the same way. We've got plans. We've got plans for that PZ. I ain't stressing over it. But for the most part, his team has a bunch of threats across it. It's just nothing that like super stands out to me in the long run. So we're just gonna give it our best shot. I always say that there's not a lot of things that super threaten me, and then I get fucking 6-0'd or some shit. So we're gonna try to avoid that this week. But first thing we're bringing to take his team on is Le Champion, the Ribombay. Leftovers with Shield Dust, Moonblast, Quiver Dance, Sub, and Roost. Yes, this set can't touch Entei, but it's not meant to touch Entei. Everything else in his team is either weak to or does not resist Fairy. So, I'm going to click Fairy moves and break his team up. And if I get a chance to get in front of something like Umbreon, if I can get in front of something like, I could potentially set up on a Rotom. If I get in front of something like Hatterene, I can start Quiver Dancing up. I can get in front of something like Suicune, I can Quiver Dance up. And just Quiver Dance, Quiver Dance, Quiver Dance, Quiver Dance. Get to the point where my SPDF's high enough to sub in front of something, and then sub Roost. Like, I'm set up. I'm set up. I can set up on a bunch of different mons on this team, and potentially just wreck house. So, that's pretty much the plan. That's pretty much my entire plan, is just to set up on something and let this thing run through his team. We have enough speed to outpace everything on his team. We're outspeeding the Virizion, which is the fastest mon, so we outspeed everything. Especially once we get a QD up, and then we just do the rest of the HP after maxing out our special attack. What's cool is Shield Dust. People always forget Shield Dust. I've had a couple instances recently where people forgot what Shield Dust did. The fact that it ignores secondary effects of moves means, like, I'm not getting SPDF dropped by I'm not getting special attack drops by Mystical Fire. I'm not getting burned, parried, or frozen by, like, a tri-attack from PZ, you know, stuff like that. I'm not getting all that bullshit. I get to just ignore it. I don't care. I can set up in front of Scalds because I'm not going to get Scald burnt and have my leftovers get, like, messed up. You know, stuff like that. Like, I don't have to worry about these things, which is great. So, a lot of potential for this thing to go ham this week, but in case it can't go ham, we got Lost Vein, the Aegislash with the Cassib Berry, Stance Change, of course, Close Combat, Iron Head, Sword Dance, and King Shield. So, looking at his team, Iron Head plus Close Combat kind of just hits everything. Pretty much simple as that. I feel like I could probably get an SD off against something like the Hat, something like Virizion, probably. Virizion doesn't really have a lot to touch Aegislash. Probably get one off in front of PZ if it's locked in. You know, something like that could be nice to pull off. I have the Cassib Berry because of Porygon Z. Now, obviously, it could be carrying Dark Pulse over Shadow Ball, but I feel like Shadow Ball makes more sense because it allows him to spam a little bit better against, like, if he was, like, Tri-Attack Dark Pulse, if I predicted right, I could just go between, like, Surfetched and Aegislash and not care. I can, like, depending on what he locks himself into, he has to lock himself into something, and I can take care of that appropriately. Right, so I think Shadow Ball makes more sense because at least it gets neutral damage on something like Surfetched. I think, like, Tri-Attack plus Shadow Ball is probably going to be the coverage he goes for, in my opinion. But that allows me to tank that Shadow Ball and smack him back with the Close Combat because that PZ needs to die. I have, like, plenty of things prepared for PZ, so I'm going to make sure that thing dies this time. It's not going to run through me again. We're not having it happen again. Next up, we got Big Leak Energy, the Surfetched, with the Chillon Berry, Scrappy ability, Close Combat, First Impression, Leaf Blade, Poison Jab, Max Attack. We have 92 Speed, Jolly Nature. That 92 Speed with the Jolly Nature allows us to outpace, I believe that's Suicune? I believe that's no Speed Suicune. That way, so, like, if it comes in and takes a hit, we can Leaf Blade it afterwards and potentially KO it, because, like, it takes small chunks of damage, but, like, we can still get off big damage with the Leaf Blade. If it's been chipped down a little bit, we can actually have a chance to kill it. which is really nice. The Chill Berry allows us to take even a Specs Tri-Attack from PZ and then KO it back with Close Combat, which is super important in my opinion, because that thing is a threat. Like, when I said I prepped everything I could to make sure I took out this fucking PZ. Like, that was like my main thing in prep, was taking care of PZ. First impression is also going to be very important. Just for that, you know, quick KO, quick come in, chip something, if something's chipped down low, quick KO, something's set up like crazy, like a scale-shotted Haxorus or something like that. You know, never know. You never know what can come in handy. But, and then Poison Jab for the hat. Next up we have Spiky Burb, the Zapdos, heavy duty boots with static, discharge, roost, volt switch, toxic, max HP, 164 defense, bold, and 92 speed. The 92 speed is for it's 258. Is that Barbargle? Yeah, that's Barbargle. This way so that, like, Barbaracle can't safely set up in front of us. Like, it can technically sit in front of us, especially with, like, a Focus Sash or something. It could technically sit in front of us and click S or Shell Smash or something, but we'd be going for, like, a Discharge with a 30% chance to para, and we'd go first. So we'd potentially be able to para it before it could do anything, which would be nice. And then be able to kill it afterwards. Volt Switch, because my opponent does not have a ground type, so we can just kind of Volt Switch freely against the team, which is nice. And then Roost Toxic, just for bulk and whatnot. I went with Static because of things like Dragonite, Haxorus, Virizion, even Pinsir to an extent. Be able to come in on those, get a Static para off, and what'll mess them up a little bit. Next we have Hefner, the Mega Lopunny with the Klutz Toxic Orb. Fake Out, Close Combat, Switcheroo, U-Turn. Basically the goal is to Switcheroo as soon as possible. I don't really care what gets the Toxic Orb on their team. I'm fine with anything, personally. It's something that definitely needs to happen, like, sooner rather than later, because obviously I don't want to just be running around the game with a Toxic Orb. I like to steal some of their items and mess up their strategies, which would be great. Fake Out just for the extra chip damage. It's really nice, especially with something like Dragonite. I could Fake Out the Dragonite, break its multi-scale, and then, like, U-turn out into something that can kill it. Something along those lines. Fake Out for breaking sashes and stuff too. Close Combat, because I wanted to have Close Combat with things like Umbreon, especially PZ, Rotom Frost running around. Big damaging move, considering I don't really have great stab in my arsenal anymore. Thanks, Game Freak. And then U-turn for momentum. And just with enough speed to outpace base 100s, which would equate to Entei. So, and then I threw max HP in there because I needed to at least be able to take a hit just in case, so I can get rid of that Toxic Orb effectively. And then last but not least, we have Spitfire, the Sugar Berry, Magmortar, Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, Scorching Sands, and Toxic. 232 speed, Timid Nature, 252 special attack, and 24 into HP. Enough speed to outpace base 80s and below, so that allows us to outpace Dragonite, which is important because then we can outpace it and Toxic it before it can set up on us, and then we don't really have to worry about it too much, especially because we can Thunderbolt it afterwards, get at least a decent chunk of damage off after the Toxic chips it out of multi-scale range. This thing also just kind of like has good coverage for his team. Scorching Sands is nice for mons that resist both of my first two coverage moves, especially because like Haxorus is a good example. If I could get a burn on the Haxorus, that'd be nice. We also have the Scorching Sands so that we can hit the Entei pretty hard. This thing kind of sits in front of Entei a little bit nicer. Entei's best bet for hitting this thing is like either Stone Edge or Stomping Tantrum. So it's, you know, it's better than nothing. And Scorching Sands will do a decent chunk of damage, so it's always nice. Yeah, that's it's a pretty straightforward Magmortar set. There really wasn't no one else on my team that had a decent matchup in this one, so Magmortar felt like my best bet, just to get some consistent damage off on stuff. But that's going to be it for the team. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe if you haven't already, and keep your eyes peeled for the battle tomorrow. But until then, I'm PokePrimer, signing off. Peace.